Hello, I'm
And
Dylan.
I'm Kiyan.
And this is Trust Your Doctor, that podcast that's as easy as pie. Because this week we watched The Five Doctors.
Written by Terrance Dicks.
Directed by Peter Moffat.
And aired on November 23rd, 1983.
Unsurprisingly, right?
Oh god, not again!
Hello.
Hello!
Have you started the episode yet?
Sort of?
Oh good, we're not too late.
I'm sorry, who are you?
We're you from the future.
You, we regenerated.
You sound a lot like Jim and Martin.
Yeah, things got a bit weird.
Clearly.
We came to warn you not to try and top your Three Doctors episode.
What does that even mean?
Okay, remember when you did that stupid thing for your Three Doctors episode?
Well, you're going to try and do it better for this episode. It's not worth it.
So you're saying we shouldn't have future versions of ourselves appear on this episode?
Absolutely not.
Might be a little late for that.
Look, you have to trust us. The future of the podcast depends on it.
Are you implying that if we do this, we'll try and top it again later?
Yep.
Precisely.
Well, I don't get it. But whatever!
Unfortunately, we don't have time to explain anymore.
We have other episodes we need to save.
But you have a time machine.
Sorry, can't hear you.
Have fun with season 21!
I should probably remove this when I edit the episode.
Now just leave it in, it'll be funny.
Yeah. Well, this isn't really part of a season of Doctor Who. It was made as a special for the Children in Need telethon, charity telethon,
Yeah.
which Doctor Who has been involved in a lot in the reboot. But this is the
Yeah.
first time that they were kind of involved with Children in Need. So
Yeah, now they pretty much have an entire season between the real seasons. So...
I mean, only of like 2 to 3 minute shorts. Nothing like the 90-minute special that this was. Although we watched the special edition, which comes with 10 extra minutes of footage. So
okay, can't really think of anywhere that
that 10 minutes would
would have been, yeah. But okay. Maybe it was the lasso scene. That was pretty unnecessary.
yeah, but we got to see John Pertwee being all Action Man Jones again. We got to see Patrick Troughton going through caves again. We got to see all the doctors doing their usual bits again.
Except Tom Baker, which is okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if you knew this, but in the original script, Terrance Dicks wrote it so that Tom's doctor betrayed the other four, because he thought that Tom's doctor was the most likely to betray the other four.
Oh, betray.
Yeah.
I thought you said portray. And I was like,
No, betray. But then Tom was like, no, I don't want to participate, so they rewrote it.
yeah, that's kind of a bad idea.
Yeah, Terrance Dicks thinks it came out better this way. But Tom said that he regrets not participating now.
Well, that's okay, because they used clips from Shada.
Which we've already seen.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
hey, I recognize that clip. Well, yeah,
Well, other
and
than that, they got a lot of actors back.
except William Hartnell, because he was dead at this point.
Yeah, and Patrick Troughton's only got like 6 more years left.
Only? That's quite a bit of time there. Can do a lot in 6 years. Yeah, they
Like, die.
got Richard Hurndall to play the first Doctor. He did
Yeah.
a decent job, and I think we'll talk about that later.
Well, I just watched the outtakes, and I can see why they cast him, because he could never remember his lines.
Well, Peter
I mean-
Davison messed up his lines
he,
more.
Yeah, he actually did more. according to the outtakes that we watched. But he actually looks nothing like William Hartnell, nor does he sound anything like.
He looks sort of like William Hartnell.
Maybe.
He looks sort of like the
nothing
first
like him.
Doctor. He doesn't look like William Hartnell.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He got the mannerisms down, though, which is...
Yeah.
I think he did, for the 20 lines that he had. So it begins on the Eye of Orion, surprisingly.
Yeah, they actually go where they say they're going to go for once.
And Tolo's drawing, sketching, making art.
Doodling.
Tegan's in the TARDIS,
Scribbling.
changing again. It feels like John Nathan Turner believes there has to be a companion that changes their outfit every week. So first it was Romana, and then it was Nyssa, and now it's Tegan. So they go outside
They
the
talk
TARDIS.
about the Eye of Orion for a bit. They're like, this is the most peaceful place ever.
And then the Doctor doubles over in pain as some napkin picks up the first Doctor. The first Doctor
like a KKK hood to me.
The first Doctor just walking through a garden and this napkin comes down. It's like, oh, great heavens. And then we see a mysterious figure take a first Doctor model out of some sort of replicator thing and place it on this board.
And then the brig is getting replaced by
It doesn't
some
really
guy
matter.
who's named, and I thought he was going to come up again,
Nope.
but they set it up like he was going to be an important character, but no.
No.
No, so yeah, the brig is like retiring from UNIT.
Well, no, I think for the brig, this is set after... I think what it was, because this is set after Mordred Undead, I think he came back for, like a reunion. Because the guy who was replacing him was like, oh, we tried to get in... we got everybody back for the reunion, and we tried to get in contact with your scientific advisor, but we couldn't get in contact with him.
And then the second Doctor walks in.
Yeah, and the brig's like, this is my replacement. And the second Doctor's like, oh yes, my replacement was also pretty unpromising, Brigadier, so I know how it feels. I was like, wow. Just second Doctor just throwing shade at the third Doctor.
So they go outside, and then they are also...
Captured by the Napkin of Doom.
Yep.
And then we cut back to the fifth Doctor, and he doubles over in pain. He's lying on the ground. He's like, my past is being erased. A man is the sum of his memories, a Time Lord even more so. And they're like, what's happening? Turlo, what do we do? Then cut to John Pertwee driving around in Bessie.
Bessie! There's going to be a lot of those this episode. And I'll quit after this episode.
Susan! They didn't get Nyssa. Anyway.
What? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, she just left, so.
Yeah, but they got freaking K9.
Yeah, but K9 is K9, so
It's Kane, exactly my point. Well, they didn't have Chameleon either.
Yeah, Chameleon isn't in this at all. They don't even mention him. They're probably just treating him like some neglected pet, just like locking him in his room.
Maybe like falls asleep and just forgets to wake up, and everybody just forgets he's even there.
Maybe he just gets lost in the TARDIS and never shows up.
That should be funny though. And then just in the reboot randomly, the guy just comes out of the TARDIS like, I'm Chameleon. They're like, who are you?
I've been in there for 50 years now.
Help me. The Doc's like, oh.
I thought that robot thing was Chameleon for like 3 seconds, but then it started killing a bunch of Cybermen and firing at the Doctor and Sarah. I was like, that's probably not Chameleon.
Yeah, well, yeah, now we cut to K9 and Sarah. And Sarah's like,
And
you
I was
stupid
like,
robot.
great, K9's gonna be in
No.
this. But no, he's the real neglected
Bait
pet.
and switch.
Bacon switch.
Bake and switch.
Yeah.
Bake and switch. Yeah, no, K9's like, don't go out there. And Sarah's like, oh,
Danger levels
stupid
rising.
dog. And she goes out
Get out
and
of here, you dumb dog. No.
it cuts to a sign that's like, beware of the dog.
Yeah, with like the canine font.
So Sarah gets captured by the Napkin of Doom, and she's like, "Oh, why didn't I listen to you, K9?"
Yes, Elizabeth Sladen returning with her trademark overacting.
Oh yeah, Susan gets captured, but we don't see how she gets captured. She just kind of shows up.
Yeah.
Because, well, the Fifth Doctor... This is going to get really confusing to explain the plot, by the way.
Well, the plot is actually kind of thin, but it just jumps back and forth between all these different parties, which I didn't mind that. I kind of like that.
Yeah, no, it's just going to be confusing to explain.
Yeah.
It wasn't confusing to watch, but to explain, it's going to get very confusing. So the Fifth Doctor and Tegan and Turlo go back into the TARDIS, and the Doctor goes somewhere, and then he kind of passes out, and Turlo's like, "Where are we going? What are we doing?" And Tegan's like, "I don't know." And then we cut to Fourth Doctor getting taken by the Napkin of Doom. He's kind of rowing down with Romana.
Except he gets trapped in, like...
a time vortex.
Yeah. That's why he's not in this. That's their excuse.
They use a wax model of Tom Baker for the publicity photo shoot. To try and jip everyone into thinking Tom Baker's in this. I mean,
hey,
on one
we don't
hand,
use racial slurs on this podcast
What,
most
jip?
of the time.
jip is a racial slur?
Yeah.
For what?
Gypsies.
Oh.
Because the stereotype is that they always cheat people.
Okay. I didn't know that. Doesn't matter to me.
Doesn't matter to me. Should just start throwing out more racial slurs. I don't know.
No. So, well, on the one hand, I think the plot worked better without Tom Baker, but on the other, I'm kind of sad I didn't get to see Tom Baker have witty banter with all the other Doctors.
Yeah, I feel like he'd try to and probably succeed at upstaging everyone. So,
Well, because he's Tom Baker.
so I'm kind of glad he wasn't in.
So, the First Doctor is running through a corridor away from a Dalek and runs into Susan like, "There's a Dalek here, we must be on Skaro."
And they're like, "Susan!"
They
And
run
then
through
they
the corridor.
run away and the Dalek like fires at a mirror. And we all know mirrors reflect things, so it kills itself.
Well, the Doctor and Susan push it into a corner and then it kills itself. So the Doctor and Susan have come back and immediately put themselves on the kill count
Yep,
again.
Susan's on the kill count now. 20 years after she got written out. She comes back and kills somebody.
The energy ball also breaks a hole in the wall and they're like, "Oh, look, we're in the death zone on Gallifrey."
Do they reveal it already?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
the second Doctor is the one who explains it.
Well, yeah. The First Doctor and Susan, she's like, "Oh, we're in the death zone on Gallifrey." And the second Doctor is the one who explains to the Brigadier what the death zone is.
Yeah, the freaking wasteland from Invasion of Time looks more like it would be named the Death Zone, you know, more than this. This sort of looks like kind of a plain field, like maybe a slightly lush area. The freaking wasteland from Invasion of Time.
So cut to council members on Gallifrey with the
Arguing.
two that are left.
Yeah.
President Brusa and council member Flavia.
Yeah, it sounded, when they introduced her, it sounded like, I guess she was in, what's it called already?
Arc of Infinity.
Yeah, I think she was
I mean,
in
the
that already.
Castellan was. It
Yeah.
was the same Castellan.
Yeah, but when they
Different
introduced,
Brusa.
yeah, well, when they introduced her again, I thought they said Counselor Failure, which was pretty funny.
There's a scene later where the Flavia's like, "The entire council has agreed unanimously." I'm like, the whole council is dead. You're the only council member.
Yeah, that's why it's unanimous. That's why it was so easy. They'd never stop arguing. You know, it's Gallifrey.
Well, yeah. So they've called in the Master, and he's like, "I'm the Master," and they're like, "You're the most evil being we've ever created." And the Master's like, "Yes, I am."
Or they say, like, you're the worst person ever born on this planet. Which doesn't really seem correct, but
Yeah, I mean, given what Bruce does, and what, like, Hedden did in the Invasion of Time, and what Omega's tried to do every time he comes back, and all the legends we've heard about Rassilon, I don't know.
But yeah, they hire the master to go save the Doctor.
Yeah, and the master only takes them up on it because they offer him an entire new regeneration cycle. Because if you remember, he's not a Time Lord right now. He's a Time Lord trapped in Tremus's body.
Yeah. Apparently there's, I don't know if it's like a meme or something, but it's like someone calculated all the money they've spent saving Matt Damon across various movies. Like Saving Private Ryan, The Martian, and there were a couple others.
Jeez.
Speaking of Matt Damon...
By the time this goes out, I think we'll actually be on Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, check out Triple Play. There's also that other controversy about Matt Damon in the
Great Wall movie. Yeah, but like...
It's interesting.
Doesn't that controversy not really make sense because it's directed by a Chinese director who, like, cast Matt Damon?
Yeah, I mean, I don't get why they cast him. Most of the other actors are Asian, and, like, he's white playing an Asian guy.
I'm just saying that we don't even know the story, so he might not even be playing an Asian character, right?
It just seems kind of weird to me. I don't know. If he is playing an Asian character, then like
then it's weird. Okay,
they cast him.
I'm just saying we don't even know what character he's playing. Oh, he might, but as far as I know, we don't know. So it's like he might not even be playing an Asian character. He might just be a white dude who like stumbled into China by accident.
It still seems kind of weird to me.
Maybe
but
he's Marco
not
Polo.
What we're here to discuss.
Maybe he's playing Marco Polo.
Well, I mean, they usually got. Never mind. Well, Doctor Who, they didn't get any Asians to play the Asian characters, so. Like the toy maker. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, that was when the show was weird and racist. Not that it's any less racist.
That was when the show was weird and just slightly more racist.
So, cut to Third Doctor driving around in Bessie, and he hears a voice, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll save you," and he chucks a rope down, and then drags Sarah Jane up the embankment.
Sarah Jane kind of just rolls down a what's it called? A not steep
hill.
Yeah. Sort of a rolling, lazy hill.
Yeah.
Just sort of that one hill where there's like all these other hills, and they're like, hey, we're hills. And this one hill is just like, yeah, I'm just a little slope.
Okay.
The hill that really didn't try to be a hill, you know?
Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, and then he pulls her up. He drags her up the hill. And again, she's overacting.
She's like, whoa, you're not... Well, okay, if you're being dragged up a hill by a car, pretty painful, actually.
No, not really.
No, yes, really. Anyway, she's like, wait, you're not the Doctor I know. And he's like, yes, I am. And she's like, no, you regenerate. And he's
You're
like,
that one doctor I knew for 5 minutes.
Well, for one season, which is like a fourth of the Third Doctor's lifetime.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes when I look back on it.
But they went to Peladon. So they meet up. They're driving in Bessie.
They should have brought Alpha Centauri back in season 20. What a missed opportunity. They should have brought him back. Well, yes, that too. But they should have brought Alpha Centauri back with, what was his name? From Creature from the Pit. Arado. They should have come back in the same serial.
Anyway, the Fifth Doctor's lying in the TARDIS like, ah! And Susan and the Doctor run up to the TARDIS. They find the TARDIS and they're like, oh, it's the TARDIS.
And they walk in and they're like, hey, who are you guys? And then Tegan and Turtle are like, hey, who are you guys? And but then the Doctors quickly recognize that they're the same person.
Yeah. The First Doctor's like, oh man, you're so young. The Fifth Doctor's like, but I'm older than you. So they talk. They have snide commentary. The First Doctor does some bickering with Tegan.
Yeah, some fan servicey type stuff, which is what this
not
entire
really fan
thing was.
Servicey when that was the First Doctor. All he did was
just him being there is pretty fan servicey. This entire thing existing is pretty fan servicey.
Yeah, but it's for children in need. So, just wait till we get to that other special in the 90s where Doctor Who crosses over with the soap opera EastEnders, because they thought that was a good idea. Features the most 90s version of the Doctor Who theme in existence. Anyway, so they've actually redesigned the console room. We didn't mention this yet.
Yeah, they did. Looks pretty interesting.
Got a whole new console that looks totally 80s now, unlike that dated 70s one they've been using.
I don't know, I feel like it looks kind of worse. Well, not worse design-wise, but it looks kind of cheaper to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it looks way more expensive and complicated.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it.
I like it better than the old one, personally.
Yeah, it's a nice change in design there, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it's got a lot more switches, although I do admit the lever you pull to open the door is kind of stupid. That, like, curved one that you pull out and then, like, pulls out in the curve and then you push it in to close the door.
Yeah, they should have brought the GARM along with them to pull the lever.
It's got a bunch of screens in the TARDIS. The, like, time rotor is changed and is really complex now. Apparently, they also changed the outer walls. It's not a big change, but apparently now it's designed so that it can only be put together one way. Apparently, the previous TARDIS set wasn't designed like that, and it always took them a couple hours to put together.
Lego.
They could never figure out how it went together. But now the new set can be put together in like 30 minutes because it can only be put together one way. So I think the only major difference is there's like columns at the intersections of the corners now, which I don't think were there before.
I didn't notice.
It's nice though. It's nice that we have a change of the TARDIS console room because it hasn't changed in like 10 years. Anyway, the first Doctor doesn't even mention it. He's like, let's do some calculations. And the fifth Doctor's like, no. So they have an argument about what they should do. Because the first Doctor thinks they should wait for the other incarnations of the Doctor. If there are any there, because they're not sure.
And the fifth Doctor is like, no, we got to go to the Tower of Rassilon.
Yeah, the fifth Doctor wants to go to the tower because he wants to deactivate the force field, which will let the TARDIS escape.
Yeah, there's like 5 things of Rassilon in this serial. That harp was
the game
just
of
stupid.
Rassilon.
Yeah. Yeah, this serial made me lose the game for the first time in like 3 years.
Dang it, I just lost the game.
How long has it been?
Couple months, actually.
Oh, wow. It's pretty interesting.
So, cut to...
I don't think we really have to go in order here, as long as we just explain what they do overall.
Third Doctor meets the Master, and he recognizes the Master, which is interesting.
Yeah, because he
looks
he's
exactly
like
Roger
Roger Delgado.
The Doctor's like, could it be? No. You're the Master, but you look slightly different. And he's like, yes, I do. It's like, another regeneration? He's like, not quite.
He's like, hey, Doctor, I came here to save you. And the Doctor's like, nah, no, you didn't.
Totally in character for the third Doctor not to believe them. Totally in character for any of the Doctors not to believe the Master, to be honest.
Totally in character for most people in existence not to believe the Master.
The Master's like, but I've got the seal of the Council. And the Doctor's like, yeah, probably forged. I'll keep this for safekeeping. And he like shoves it in his coat.
He says probably forged, and he takes a look at it, and he's like, well, not forged, but obviously stolen. And the Master gets kind of mad that he doesn't believe him.
I mean,
I guess I think it was part of his plan all along, maybe.
Well, I think the Master's mad because he needs the Doctor to believe him so he can get that new regeneration cycle that he really wants.
Yeah. And that immortality that he later really wants.
And then realizes he doesn't actually really want.
Barusa, though. Barusa in this serial.
Spoilers, Barusa's the main villain. Barusa was the one who sent all the Doctors to the Death Zone. Yeah, so second Doctor's explaining to the Brig what the Death Zone is. He's like, oh man, it's the Death Zone. The Brig's like, what?
It's back before they established laws on Gallifrey. They used to just kidnap people and throw them into this Death Zone to fend for themselves and watch as they kill each other. So kind of Roman, I guess, but on a much larger scale.
And then they run into like a Cyberman group. I thought it was interesting. I made a note of this, and I don't know if it was intentional, but like the first, second, and third Doctors all encounter quote-unquote their villain that was most prominent in their series.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
So the first Doctor meets the Daleks, and the second
That
Doctor
was only
is
like
the Cybermen.
3-minute scene, but...
And then the third Doctor meets the Master, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's kind of cool.
Second Doctor also meets the Yeti.
The second Doctor also meets the Yeti. Which... What? So... the second and third Doctors both decide to go for the tower, but they go different ways.
Yeah, because there's 3 entrances to the tower. The
Convenient.
the middle one, the low one, and the high one.
So the fifth Doctor goes with...
The third Doctor takes the high road, and the second Doctor takes the low road, and the third Doctor gets to Scotland. Okay, never mind.
So... The fifth Doctor goes with Tegan and Susan to go through the middle door. So the fifth Doctor goes with Tegan and Susan to go through the middle door.
Wait, I thought the first Doctor goes with Tegan.
No, the fifth Doctor goes first, meets with the Master.
The first Doctor goes fifth.
The fifth Doctor goes first, he meets up with the Master, the Cybermen show up and start blasting at him.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, this is obviously a trap, it's all your fault, Master. Also, Bessie got disabled by bolts of lightning from the sky.
And then the Master submits himself to the Cybermen.
Well, he gets knocked out, and the Doctor steals his, transceiver.
Yeah, his little homing device, according to the outtakes.
I mean, it is a homing device. It's just...
Yeah, but it's
a transceiver first, homing device second.
It's a recall thing.
Yeah.
Which he can use to get back to Gallifrey whenever he wants.
Which has a homing device in it. It's not intentionally a homing device. So the Doctor takes it and goes back, and Susan and Tegan are like, oh no, and they run back to the TARDIS, and Susan injures her foot for some reason. She trips.
Yeah. Turlough's still there.
With the first Doctor. They're having some witty banter. Then they come in, and they're like, I think the fifth Doctor got transmatted. The first Doctor's like, dang it, I'll have to go through the middle entrance. All right, let's go, Tegan.
Yeah, so he goes with Tegan. He makes some remarks towards Tegan that she doesn't really appreciate. And the fifth Doctor is like, don't mind him, Tegan. He's just me, but
younger and more crotchety.
So yeah, they go... First Doctor and Tegan go off. Susan and Turlough stay in the TARDIS. And the Cybermen start placing bombs all around. That was probably one of the funniest parts of this serial. They're just in the TARDIS looking at the view screen, and they're like, well, they're putting bombs all around us. And then Susan's like, what do we do now? And Turlough's like, guess we just die.
I like that they gave the Cybermen actual cyber voices in this episode.
Yeah, but not...
I mean, they're better than the, what was this, Earthshock voices.
Yeah, they're better than the Earthshock voices.
So I appreciated that.
It's still not as cool as the 10th Planet voices, which are still the coolest
the
voices.
Tomb of the Cybermen ones were the coolest.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's why I said sure.
As voted by the council unanimously.
So yeah, next comes also one of my favorite parts of the serial. The third Doctor and Sarah are trying to get to the tower, and they come across an interpretive dancer who kills people.
They come across a Rastan assassin robot. Assassin
of Rassilon. No, it's actually just this guy in a full body
morph suit shooting spikes, and it kills
and lasers
12 Cybermen.
Yeah, it like jumps around and teleports, and the third Doctor's like, it moves faster than lightning. And they hide behind this rock, and it's just jumping around, killing everyone. Looks like it's really happy, like it's having a good time.
Yeah, because when it jumps, it does the
It, like throws its arms up. And there's like this sound effect every time it teleports. So yeah, not sure why this thing was in at all, but it made it better, so...
Because they needed more...
Padding.
Apparently, Terrance Dicks wasn't too pleased that Eric Saywood made the Cybermen more of a main focus for this episode, because Terrance Dicks didn't really like the Cybermen, but Eric Saywood apparently loved the Cybermen. So.
Well, I mean, I thought it was okay because it does shift to Barusa right at the end. So that was kind of cool.
Well, now the Doctor shows up in the council room and he's like, quite a welcoming party. And in the outtakes, they just sit there for like 3 minutes in silence.
3 seconds, really.
It's like a minute.
It's like 20 seconds.
It's like 40 seconds.
It's like 25 at most.
It's like 40 seconds. And then they have some council member nonsense. So the Doctor's like, you have a traitor in your midst. And they're like, nah.
Again.
And they're like, it's probably the Castellan. The Castellans will like, what?
Yeah, they kind of just all decide that it's the Castellan. They have, like, some circumstantial evidence against them, which,
They search his room.
They search his room and they find these scrolls of Rassilon. And, I mean,
Black scrolls of Rassilon.
That's pretty much circumstantial evidence, which, I mean, circumstantial evidence is, like, usually right, but in this case, it's not.
It's actually completely wrong, yeah.
So I feel kind of bad for him because they go and take him. They're going to arrest him or put him on trial or something, but as soon as he leaves, he gets shot.
It's pretty obvious that they, like, staged it to look like he was going for a gun and they shot him.
Yeah,
but they actually just shot him.
Because the Doctor walks out and he's like, wow, I can't believe you just shot him. That's pretty messed up. And he's like, he was armed and he was about to attack us. So,
yeah, sure.
Minnesota.
Sure. Cutting edge political commentary. Talk about one of my favorite outtakes, which is when they open the box and they catch on fire, but one of the scrolls jumps out and lands on the table, and they just keep acting the scene as normal.
they kind of just look at the scroll like, is that supposed to be there?
Yes, it's just on fire on the table.
Just keep going until one guy's like, yeah, we gotta put that out,
Yeah,
guys.
the director's like, yeah, stop and put that out, guys.
And then Barusa just puts it out with his hand, and then I guess it's one of the costume people who comes by and like quickly brushes off his hand, like, hey man,
because he's got a
you
glove
can't
on.
touch that. Yeah, he has the glove on. He's like, hey man, don't burn that glove.
My favorite outtake is still the Dalek going through the corridor like, exterminate, exterminate.
Yeah, he just
oh
turns it
bugger,
up.
I've lost them.
Oh, I like the one where he just keeps turning it up to 11, and they're like, ha.
And he's like, oh, thank you. And for an encore. Anyway. Back to the story at hand. The Doctor talks to Flav and he's like, I think Barusa is the traitor. Flav like, nah. And the Doctor's like, really? Look at the evidence, Flav. Yeah, it all points to Barusa. And she's like, okay, maybe.
Meanwhile,
the second Doctor has encountered a Yeti.
Yeah, it traps the second Doctor and the brig in a cave, and the second Doctor rummages through his pockets, so nice little...
Pulls out a bunch of nonsense.
There, yeah.
It looks like he pulls out a bag of jelly babies and hands it to the brig, but he doesn't make a mention of it, so I don't actually know what it is.
Well, I didn't notice. I couldn't tell what he was pulling out.
Then he pulls out a stick of dynamite.
Yeah.
It's like, should you really be carrying that around in your pocket?
Yeah, why not?
Well, he lights it and chucks it up the Yeti, and it blows up and seals the Yeti in. The brig's like, you've maddened it, man!
And they're like, you sealed us in. And the second Doctor's like, where there's a wind, there's a way.
They find the door. They go in. And then the third Doctor creates a lasso with some rope. And they zip line.
Because they have to get across to the entrance thing.
They zip line across the...
Sarah Jane, again.
With overacting?
Yeah.
They zip line across this really long chasm. Well, there's like a cutaway shot. Chasm, yeah. That doesn't look like it's so far, but then they cut away further, and it looks like a mile across from the mountain to the tower. I'm like, wow, how did the third Doctor throw the loop of rope that far? Then the Master's like, ever the ingenious man, Doctor.
Yeah, the Master's like snooping on them from ground level.
Master be snooping. He's working with the Cybermen.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Until he kills all of them.
Yeah, well, the first Doctor and Tegan make it into the middle door, and there's a pad on the ground that if you step on the wrong thing, it'll electrocute you. Yeah,
kind of like, what was that serial? I don't even remember which Doctor it was, but he had to, I think it was the third. He had to solve all those puzzles. I know what you're talking
about. It was the Blank of the Daleks.
Yeah, that one.
The one with the Exelons in it.
Yeah, that forgettable one. Probably the most forgettable Dalek serial.
Was it Destiny of the Daleks? No. But
Destiny was the one with the Egyptians.
Now I want to know which one it was.
Well, we're looking it up now.
Dalek television stories. Master Plan, Power, Evil.
It was evil.
No, Evil was second Doctor. It was
Planet
Death to the Daleks.
What was Planet of the Daleks?
Planet of the Daleks was the one with the Spiritans.
Oh, yeah, that one was...
The purple cloaks.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
yeah, the floor is like an electrified checkerboard kind of thing. And
the Cybermen all get killed.
Yeah, the first Doctor is like, gotta see which ones are electrified, and he throws like 7 coins. I'm like, how many are you gonna keep flipping out there?
Well, Tegan's like, oh, do you have to pay to enter? And he's like, no. Silly girl.
And he keeps flipping them, and none of them go off. Until the one goes, and he's like, oh, it's just the 5th row that's electrified. And I'm like, how do you know? Maybe it's just that one tile that's electrified.
Well, at first I thought he was right that it was the 5th row, because when the monster skips across, he jumps over the 5th row both ways, right?
Yeah, the actual explanation that they give makes like a lot less sense than it's just the 5th row. So, yeah, because anyway, then the Master and the Cybermen show up.
The monster kills all the Cybermen.
Yeah, he jumps over. He's like, hey guys, this floor is an electrified watch. And he walks over it, and he walks back, and the Cybermen are like, okay, cool. And they walk over it, and they all die.
Except for one. The monster just picks up a gun and guns him down.
Yeah, the one Cyberman left alive is like, show me the way across, Master. I'm just going to follow in your footsteps. And he's like, okay. So he goes halfway across and turns around and shoots him. And Tegan is like, wasn't that a bit unnecessary? It's a bit harsh, even for you.
And he's like, yeah, on your world, you led pigs through minefields to find the mines. Same principle. And she's like, yeah, but this minefield is still active.
Anyway, yeah, and then...
He's all, it's easy as pie. And the Doctor's like, oh, pie. Tegan's like, yeah, pie.
Yeah.
Doctor's like, yeah, 3.1415926.
Raspberry, apple,
pineapple.
Classic pumpkin, pineapple.
Yeah, I had a pineapple pie. It was the best pie I've ever had. I ate the whole pie.
What?
Except for one slice. Well, because when in high school, whenever there was pie day or math class, they'd all bring in pie, right? Someone brought
I never got that.
Wow. You had bad math classes. Anyway, someone brought in pineapple pie. I was like, I'm going to have a slice of pineapple pie. Had a slice. This is really good. Someone else had a slice. At the end, she was like, you can take home whatever pie is left if you want. I was like, I'm taking this pineapple pie.
You just didn't let anyone have any more pie.
No one else wanted pie. No one else took another slice of the pie.
Yeah, I'm sure you're
I brought it home and I was like, hey, fam, you can have
I'm
my
sure
whole
you're
pie.
like, hey guys, do you want any pie? No, okay, I'll just take it.
No, I was actually like, does anyone want any pie? Like, pretty loud. And I was like, no, you can take it. Teacher's like, you can take it. And I was like, taking this pie. It was a good pie.
All right, I'll try and find a pineapple pie.
Okay.
Around. But yeah, so the real solution to the puzzle is that it's pi, like the number.
Speaking of pineapples, the first Doctor eats a pineapple at one point, like a slice of pineapple at one point.
Interesting little coincidence there. So yeah, the answer is that I don't really know what the answer was. It has something to do with pie, and they just skip over it. Literally.
Yeah, well, now the fifth Doctor goes into the council room and is like, I'm going to find you, Barusa. I'm coming for you, Barusa.
Hide your kids. Okay, never mind.
Hide your kids. Hide your Flavia. Here I come, Barusa.
He's married to Flavia?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I just wanted to make it a topical reference to the serial.
Oh.
Well, the Doctor finds the door because it's a musical lock.
This was the most obvious secret door ever. Because basically what it was the secret wall had this painting of a guy playing a harp.
It's probably Rassilon, to be honest.
Yeah, because it was the harp of Rassilon. And you could see the notes on the painting. And then there's a real harp like 5 feet away from the painting. So the Doctor's like, oh, I'll just play these notes, and the secret door opens.
Yeah, I feel like, okay, this is kind of unrelated, but I feel like Rassilon was a hoarder. Now, so many things of Rassilon we've heard of the show.
Hey, he's gonna need that stuff in the future, man. Just kidding. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like Barusa kind of wanted someone to find out that he was back there.
Well, he reveals to the Doctor that it was him all along, and the Doctor's like, no! And then Bruce is like, I've got the headpiece of Rassilon on, so I can control you now. And he's like, no! So he controls him, and they go to the tomb. But they don't...
They get into the Rassilon's tomb.
Well, they don't go just yet, because in the tomb, all 3 Doctors have met up, and all their companions, they're all meeting up. The Brig's like, oh, hey, Sarah. Hey, Tegan. How's it going? How's it going? All good.
Yep. Tegan and Sarah meet and talk off screen for a bit.
The Doctors are having their usual argument.
Yeah.
The 3rd Doctor's like, they'll never figure it out without me. And the 2nd Doctor's like, no, it's easy. First Doctor's like, look at all this. It's
First
really
Doctor's like, what are my lines?
You gotta get that authentic William Hartnell experience. So, yeah, they figure out this encryption is like, oh yeah, if you want immortality, just take off Rassilon's ring. And the monster's like, thanks. And then the Brig's like, hello again, and conks him over the head.
Yeah, he like karate chops the Master and knocks him out.
Yeah, maybe when the 3rd Doctor was on Earth, he taught the Brig some Venusian Aikido.
Maybe. Honestly, one of the best Brig scenes. He just walks up behind the Master and knocks him out.
I like in the outtakes when John's like, well, Master's dead. Get a better accomplice next time, Master. So now the 2nd Doctor...
Don't kill all your accomplices on the way in. It's more like it.
The 2nd Doctor calls up Bruce and is like, hello, Doctor, are you there? Are you me? Are you there? And the 5th Doctor's like, here I am. 2nd Doctor's like, oh, there I am. I mean, there you are. Like, hang on, we're coming through with Barusa. So they come on through. The 1st Doctor's like, look, he's under some sort of mind control. So they do some nonsense where they all, like, become one mind or something.
Yeah, and the 5th Doctor snaps out of it. And then the head of Rassilon shows up. The giant floating head.
Yeah, I think in the special edition, the voice for Rassilon was redubbed. Huh. I'm not sure. I do know one specific scene that was changed, which is coming up in just a second.
Well, yeah, then Barusa explains to Rassilon that he's there for the immortality, and because they're all playing the game of Rassilon.
So Barusa's like, I want immortality, and the 2nd and 3rd Doctor's like, no, don't give it to him. And the 1st Doctor's like, you should give it to him.
Because Rassilon asks the Doctors if Barusa is like trustworthy or something along those lines. And all of them except the 1st Doctor are like, nope, don't give it to him. The 1st Doctor's like, yeah, give it to him. And the other ones are like, 1st Doctor, what are you doing?
Well, he's figured it all out.
Yeah, he knows. He's figured it all out. Because they read that inscription. We forgot to mention the inscription, which was supposedly in ancient Gallifreyan, but was actually just in Greek. Well, it wasn't in Greek. It was just random Greek symbols. Looked like.
So there's like an Easter egg in that scene because the top line of the side that faces the camera says like D cubed sigma x squared, I think, or something like that. Which, like, if you just watched, you wouldn't think that means anything. But apparently, Terrance Dicks and someone else wrote this like Doctor Who companion guide in the early 80s. And in it, it says that first line like is the Doctor's name in Gallifreyan. So
yeah, Sigma Theta.
Yes, Sigma Theta.
So yeah, they read the inscription. Apparently says like the loser wins and the winner loses. So that makes it pretty obvious what's about to happen, especially when the 1st Doctor's like.
Especially when you look at Rassilon's little resting place and there's 3 heads on the side, and the one space that isn't filled is like in the middle of the 3 heads.
And it's right where Barusa's standing.
So Barusa gets turned into a head on the side of Rassilon's casket.
Yep, he's immortal now. Immortalized in stone.
Then Rassilon's like, do you want immortality, Doctor? And they're all like, no.
We're good.
So Rassilon's all, okay, I'll return you to your own times.
Yep. So they all get back in the one TARDIS that's there, and then they're napkined away.
Yeah, so that's the scene that was changed from the original. In the original, the TARDIS splits into multiple TARDISes, so each one leaves in like their own copy of the TARDIS. Mm-hmm. And that's why the Doctor's like, oh yeah, temporal fission, like Rassilon's trick or whatever. That line doesn't really make sense if the time scoop comes and picks him back up again.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they added it's not obvious that they changed the scene, but it is obvious that the special effect was newer.
upgraded.
Yeah.
They have some witty banter before they leave, which is fun. The second and the third Doctor have the best banter.
Yeah, because they hate each other. No, they don't.
It's just like taking jabs at each other. The second Doctor's like, clown. The second Doctor's like, check your pants. So they all leave and go home, and the fifth Doctor and... Well, Flavia busts in and is like, Doctor, you're the president now because the council unanimously decided you're the president. So for the third time in the Doctor's history, he's become president of Gallifrey.
And he just runs away. He gives her unlimited power.
He gives her deputy presidential power till he comes back. It's like, I'll go through in my TARDIS. And she's like, wait. And he's like, don't worry, I'll be there. And he gets in the TARDIS and he runs away. And Tegan's like, you're not going to run away from your own people in a rackety old TARDIS, are you? And the Doc's like, why not? That's how it all began.
Yep. And then it ends. Kind of a nice ending there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked how the ending tied back into like the very beginning of the show.
How it all began.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the show began after that happened,
Yeah.
So...
I don't know. I mean, it was obviously pretty fan servicey, but I'm okay with that. I like that.
Yeah.
It's okay to have a fan servicey thing every once in a while. I mean, I wouldn't want like a whole season of just fan service.
Well, I would. That's what I wanted season 20 to be, but that's all right. This
Well,
felt
I mean,
like
not
more...
like to this level fan service.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess not. But this isn't part of season 20, but it felt like a more fitting end to season 20.
well, it feels like a
better-
bridge.
a
It
better
feels like a
finale.
bridge between 20 and 21 because it wraps up the plots of 20, but also they get they redesign the TARDIS interior.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's the 20th anniversary special, so they're like, hey, this is like
And they kind of set up
the 20th
season 21.
season, so yeah, like, kind of barely.
He's running away from his people again.
Hopefully, Chameleon will actually show up in 21. But I mean, they should have at least mentioned him or something, in my opinion. But I can kind of see why they didn't. They wanted to spend time on the doctors and the old companions.
We forgot to mention Liz Shaw,
Oh, yeah.
Yates,
And
Jamie, and Victoria.
Zoe,
Not
you
Zoe,
mean.
sorry.
Yeah, because they showed up as visions.
Zoe was wearing bubble wrap.
Yeah, I wrote that in my notes.
Yeah, I wrote that
Zoe's
down
wearing
too. I was
bubble
like,
wrap.
is Zoe wearing bubble wrap? But yeah, and then there's a line we didn't mention that implies / pretty much states that this takes place after the War Games for the second Doctor because he sees the visions and he's like, your memory of me was erased, so you're not real.
That's how he figures out their visions.
So basically, yeah, season 6B confirmed.
Yeah, I really don't give a rat's tail about the about the timeline of this show.
Shark's tail. I think Herndal did a good job as the first Doctor. I mean, like he did. I mean, it could have been worse, is what I'm saying. Like it could have been way
They
worse.
could have gotten William Hartnell. I'm just kidding. Well,
He's
they
dead.
actually couldn't have because he was
Yeah.
dead. But if he wasn't dead, they could have got him, and it would have been worse.
Only because he would have.
But it would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been nice if he was alive and they could have gotten him, but it would have
Also
been
not
like-
worked out.
Yeah, it would have been disappointing for the plot because of his age and his disease, he wouldn't have been able to do a lot, like in the Three Doctors.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he was all right as the first Doctor.
Yeah,
I didn't think he really looked or sounded like
I
William
think.
Hartnell.
Well, I don't think his face looked like William Hartnell, but
No,
I
it
think
didn't.
they got the like costume
yeah, it's
down.
not that hard to get the costume right.
and the hair. I think he got the mannerisms decent.
Yeah, I didn't really. I'm giving him
Well,
crap
it-
about
it
it, but
fe-
I didn't have too much of a
Yeah,
problem.
it felt
with
like the first Doctor, right? That's what I'm trying to say. And it didn't feel like an imposter. And I know some people get really upset that they recast the Doctor or whatever, but I didn't mind it.
Well, I mean, what are they supposed to do? Just not
Just
have him
never
in?
use him again, I guess, is
That-
what people would say.
That would be more disappointing. I'd rather just have them recast.
Well, I'm okay with them recasting as long as it's like a good actor and they don't recast them into someone who's just terrible and doesn't play the character at all. Like, Richard Herndal played the character, but they could have gotten some rando to just...
Some guy off the street. You want to play the first Doctor by any chance?
right? And that would have sucked. But I like that they got an established actor who could pull off the part, so...
Well, I mean,
That's all I'm saying.
That's their job. That's casting's
Yeah,
job. So And they probably don't want to ruin the episode by,
having some rando. Other than that,
well, the plot was a bit thin, but I didn't mind.
it was super thin, but that's okay because we got all those scenes of all the old doctors with the companions, which was nice.
I mean, it kind of had to be thin. It was
Yeah.
almost 2 hours, and because they kept switching back and forth between all the different parties, which was pretty cool.
No, yeah, I liked seeing all the old doctors interact with their companions.
And the new companions, like First Doctor and Tegan, Susan and Turlo. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like seeing the interactions between all those characters. But I wouldn't want a whole season of just that.
Nah.
But I also think it was a fitting 20th anniversary special. So
Yep.
it's a pity that they didn't get some of the companions back. Like they didn't get Victoria, and they didn't get like Ian and Barbara, which is the one that I kind of missed the most. Even if they just shown up as a vision to the First Doctor, because the First Doctor didn't see any visions, right?
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see like Ian and Barbara show up and be like, Doctor, help us. But that's kind of just nitpicking at this point. I liked it, so there you go.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting them to go more overboard with the villains. Like, I thought they were just going to throw a bunch of different villains in this, but they didn't.
Yeah, well, I kept it restrained, which is good, especially when they have all the companions in there. And I think the companions are more important than bringing back all these villains.
Well, they can bring back the villains whenever they want.
Yeah,
most of them. But they can't bring back the companions whenever they want. Well, they can, but it just would be pretty bad if they did. So.
Yeah, so.
There you go.
Yeah, the 5 Doctors. So, email us at thedoctor@decorative.com. Questions, comments, concerns, angry rants, love letters, your thoughts on the 5 Doctors. Would you have liked to see Tom Baker involved? I know there's an audio drama that they put out for the 50th anniversary that features Doctors 1 through 8 in the story, so that could be interesting. Maybe we'll listen to that next year. You can find us on YouTube, iTunes, and Google Play, all at Trust Your Doctor. Website is decorativevegetable.com. Show notes are there if you want them.
Check us out on Facebook, Trust Your Doctor. Like us on Facebook, and check us out on Twitter at TYD Podcast, and follow us on Twitter. Next week, we start season 21, 5th Doctor's final season with Warriors of the Deep. But until then, the end.